What's good on the hood YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing another video. Today I'm bringing you a video on Uchuu Sentai Kyuranger. This is for episode 5, called 9 Ultimate Saviors. For those that are wondering about the sound that you may or may not be hearing around you, that is snow. Outside there is snow going on, a lot of it, so if you hear a bunch of that, that's what's going on. Anyway, episode 5 is pretty awesome. A lot of stuff happens. It's a really cool episode, and again, 9 ultimate saviors, referring to all 9 of them, meaning including Stinger. So you may have some implications in mind as far as what may end up happening in this episode, and I'm pretty sure most of you guys can figure it out in a second. Yeah, especially if you know how the episodes have been going so far. Anyway, what ends up happening is that the episode starts off with Lucky not feeling so great because he feels like the people of Earth really didn't trust them, really didn't have enough respect for them, and were very focused on themselves and didn't really focus on. I didn't really feel like they were saviors of planets and everything, and really didn't give them the chance that they deserved to maybe save their planet. And so Lucky wants to go down to Earth and try to fix that. So what ends up happening is that Shorembo ends up doing the Q-let thing. It's a really quick dance version of the last one. This time the team is a little different, pretty much the same for the most part. There's just one change. Rather than Kajiki Yellow, it is Hibitsukai Silver. So in other words, the team now is Lucky, Champ, Garu, Hammy, and not Spada, but in this case Nagare. So they all go down to Earth, and they all end up fighting the Endeavors, and eventually meet up with these 2 young boys that are trying to be helpful to the Earth and trying to save their people and trying to be nice. And the boys actually trust the Kyurangers pretty easily and are actually pretty kind to them. And what happens is that eventually we end up seeing Aerodron and Stinger. They each appear. Aerodron tries to take down them, and eventually what happens is that the boys watch the Kyurangers being attacked and everything, and they feel like, oh no, how could this be? And at that point what happens is that Aerodron's like, take out these boys, and in this case, rather than taking them out, he actually captures them in his tail and brings them back to their prison cell on the ship, rather than actually killing them on the spot. And so what happens is Lucky notices this, and so what happens is eventually they actually go back to Orion, and when they're there, they end up discussing things, and Lucky basically says he doesn't think that Stinger is really against them. He thinks that he is supporting them, because otherwise he would have killed the boys. He wouldn't have just been so quick to just let them stay on a ship. He would have dealt with them there. So then what happens is that he feels that maybe he's on their side, and eventually what happens is we end up seeing that the boys on the dark matter ship. And what happens is that what do you call it? The boys are sitting in the prison cell, and eventually Stinger ends up giving them a piece of bread. And the boys don't trust it at first, but Stinger says, "Oh, don't worry, it's not poison," and they trust him enough. And they end up eating the bread. So they split it in half and eat the bread, and then the younger brother ends up starting to cry, and the older one tries to comfort him. And this reminds Stinger of his past, because his older brother Scorpio used to comfort him when he cried as well, and it reminds Stinger of his past. And the thing is that he cares a lot about his own brother, and so he sees this connection between these 2 boys and him as the younger brother and his older brother. But the thing is that his older brother apparently was Dark Matter's greatest assassin. Yes, the greatest assassin that Dark Matter ever had. And the thing is that it's not like that Aerodron necessarily knows of Stinger's past or anything, so he doesn't know that he's related to him. So, but he has to tell him, like, Because what happens is that Stinger actually says, "Do you know where Scorpio is?" And the guy and Aerodron's like, "You mean Dark Matter's greatest assassin?" And he's like, "Why does this matter?" And he basically says, "Because he's my brother. I'm trying, and I was wondering if you know where he is." And he says, "You wouldn't know, but Don Armage, the commander of the Dark Matter group, would know." And that is important, obviously, because he wants to find his brother. Now, I'm not sure, obviously, whether or not he's looking to kill him, if he's looking to bring him back to the side of good, or what. It kind of reminds me in a lot of ways of Joe from Gokaiger with Sid Senpai, or Sid in general. But obviously, in that case, he was turned into a robot, but he was also, I believe, an assassin in a way. So it's kind of similar, but it's not like we have any proof whether or not he died or if he was turned into anything yet, at least. But I just wanted to bring up that connection because that's sort of where I see it going potentially. Not necessarily saying that he's going to become a robot. We'll see. Anyway, what happens is that then since he knows this, he eventually takes the boys and they all go down to Earth and tie them up, and they have a whole Endeavor army. And what happens is that the Kyurangers come down. Not the 5, all 9 of them come down. Oh, not all 9, all 8, because Stinger is still on the side of Dark Matter. But yes, all 8 of them come down. And what happens is that they have to do a trade. The trade is obviously for their Kyotama in exchange for the lives of the boys. So they throw their Kyotama, trusting that things will go okay. And what happens is that they're attacked and knocked down. And then what happens is that Aerodron says to Stinger, he says, like, take the boys out, rather than taking them out. Well, actually, what happens is that Aerodron actually takes off the chains, and then he's like, "Stinger, take the boys out." Rather than doing that, he actually is like, "No, that's not how I feel. That's not me." And what happens is that he ends up actually knocking the Kyotama back at the Kyurangers, and then the Kyurangers and the Dark Matter group switch sides. And the only ones that are, and Stinger stays on the same side as them, as well as the 2 boys. And what happens is that Lucky thinks, "Oh, I knew you were on our side." And the thing is that Stinger's like, "I have a few words to tell you guys. I have been a spy." Yes. So he has been working for the Kyurangers the whole entire time. It's just that he's been pretending to be against them so that he can get intel, such as the information about the planet Earth's secrets and also about his brother. Because if he can't be trusted by the villains, then he can't learn this information. It's very smart. So what happens is that actually Shorenbo actually speaks to him and says, "Yeah, he's been a spy for me for a little while. I just haven't been able to tell you." So yeah. Stinger's on their side now. All 9 Kyurangers are together. What happens is that then at that point they end up all transforming, and they end up battling the Endeavors and Yumi Palkon, which in this case with Yumi Palkon, like Yumi Palkon tries to suck up Lucky's dreams, and what happens is that his dream is too big, so he ends up sucking it up, and eventually it gets too big that eventually he starts floating up into the sky and bursts. Yes. So then at that point they end up continuing to fight and eventually battling Aerodron. They use this special all-star crush or something like that, which is this massive star that comes out and creates a gigantic force of energy that destroys Aerodron, and then he has to pilot. Well, then what happens is that he ends up having to go back to his ship and pilot that and try to attack the Kyurangers. So what happens is that then at that point 4 of them go into space, 5 of them form the Kurano. Which 5 exactly? Shishi Red. So it's red, yellow, pink, Gold, and Silver form Kurano. And they all battle Yumi Pakun and actually defeat him. And then we end up seeing them go into space, and what happens is that things get changed a little bit. Well, they get changed a bunch. So what happens is, in this case, it becomes red, orange, green, blue, and black form Kurano. And in this case, when it comes to that, orange and black form the arms, and obviously green and blue form the legs. So that is interesting to note. For the other combination, I believe it's like pink and yellow form the arms, and gold and silver form the legs. Yeah. So that's the two different combinations. But yeah, so what happens is they end up attacking, Aerodron's ship. And what happens at first is that Stinger ends up using his attack, and then Champ's like, no, you can't take all the credit, you can't take all the glory. And so suddenly he's using his attack, and so they have like these two beams, and they're going, ah! And they're just like shooting like mad, and eventually they end up using the Super Galaxy attack with all 9 of them. And what happens is that they actually end up taking out Aerodron, and Aerodron's for the glory of dark matter, or all hail dark matter, and then he just dies. At that point, the people of Earth, which I forgot to mention, they actually were watching them during that fight, and they wanted to see whether or not they could trust them. And after that final showdown with Aerodron, they all cheer in praise of the Kyurangers. And then we see them back on the Orion, and it's only 8 of them. The reason why is because Stinger is staying on Earth to learn more information about the Earth secret, which he mentions to Shoranbo. So that is what's going on there. And then at that point, we end up seeing that they are gonna, they all are very happy now, and they're gonna. And Lucky's like, I've made up my mind. I want us to continue to explore the Earth, and they're all like in support of it, willing to do it, and it sounds pretty good. So that basically is what kind of occurs there. As far as what's going to happen in the next episode, what's pretty much confirmed is that they are going to introduce Pegasus mode for Lucky. So Lucky's going to have this Pegasus chest plate that's going to go over him, and it's not very clear exactly as to what it does, but there have been images that have shown up for a number of weeks now that have implied that this was coming. As far as what that means, we don't know. We should also be getting in the next few weeks, probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks or so, maybe a little bit more than that. Rio Commander should be joining the team, and eventually Sky Blue should also join the team. And we'll have 11 members, and most likely eventually we'll get a 12th one. I wouldn't be surprised, but it should be exciting to see how things progress from here, especially since Aerodron is destroyed, or at least that's what we're meant to assume. So I don't know who's going to take over for him, whether it's going to be they're going to jump directly to Don Armage, or if there's going to be another lead general that's going to take over. Personally, I'm expecting another lead general, and I'll be very interested to see who that will be, and also who will be like the next minor villain similar to Yumi Pakun, because I'm sure he's done. So anyway, please remember, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy this episode? Have you seen it before? Are you liking the show yourself so far? What do you think about Stinger actually being a part of the team the whole time, and just being a secret agent that's been kind of just trying to not be known as a Kyuranger so that he could do his job well? Do you like that idea? Do you think that they should have had more of a story behind him in that way, or do you think it sounds pretty good? I personally like it. I think it makes a lot more sense, and it never seemed like he was truly against them. So yeah, I'd love to know your guys' opinion below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, guys, I'm Crazy Samurai 1, and goodbye, guys.